Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to another Turbo Mock, and today we're going to aim for our most realistic mock yet. We won't be trading too much in this one. We're going to be using scouting information that draft insiders have been leaking out and giving us. Names such as Dane Brugler, Matt Miller, and many more that I follow on Twitter. I'm going to guide this mock draft off of gut feel and chatter, and I'm going to do my very best to replicate the NFL team's tendency. Keep in mind, this is only a mock. Don't ever take these things too seriously. If I mess up a pick, we're 3 full months away, so you can never be too sure what your team needs. We also get free agency before the draft. So we're just going to run this thing, and we're going to use the information that we've been given so far. The only trade that I'm going to make in this entire mock is going to be Indianapolis trading up to the 101. Jim Irsay has made it clear that he is going to do whatever it takes for him to get the franchise quarterback on his team. He said he was willing to move up to the 1st overall if it meant he was getting the quarterback that he liked. So we're going to go ahead and take the Colts and move them right up to the 1st overall. So the Colts are on the clock. They're going to go ahead and take Bryce Young. He seems like he's consensus QB1. I'm a little bit even with him right now. I'm a fan of both. I don't think either of them are the craziest prospects ever, but I think they're really good quarterbacks. Houston's on the clock. They get the 2nd quarterback on the board. I'm not going to fall in love with the Will Levis hype. We're just going to go ahead and give him CJ Stroud. Not overthink this one too much. The Cardinals are on the clock, and they need defensive help. There's a ton of chatter about Jalen Carter being the best player in the entire draft. Personally, I like Will Anderson a little bit better than Jalen Carter, but people make a good point. It's hard to find an elite interior defensive lineman talent, so we're going to go ahead and take Jalen Carter. He's going to step right in and be able to help their run defense and their pass defense. He's a big dude, can get after the quarterback, just a rare talent at defensive tackle. Next on the clock, we get Chicago. Chicago just moved back to the 4th overall, so they're going to go ahead and take Will Anderson, and they also get those draft picks that Indianapolis used to move up to the 1st overall. You could use your imagination, whatever those draft picks look like, but Chicago makes out really well here. The Seahawks are on the clock, and there's a lot of love for Tyree Wilson now. I'm not the highest on him. I think he's a little limited when it comes to rushing the passer. He's more of just a power rusher. He doesn't show a bunch of pass rushing moves, but his size, his arm length, his strength, the scouts are in love with this guy, so we're going to go ahead and take him for Seattle. Be able to help that defense get after the quarterback. Detroit's a team that needs some interior defensive linemen. My gut feels like Dan Campbell is going to fall in love with this Brian Brzee guy. He's kind of like a cutthroat, a tough guy football player. He's good against the run, can get after the quarterback. He was a freaky 5-star, and I believe he's going to be a better pro than he was at the college level. Next up, we get the Raiders. We're going to go ahead and be consistent and take a tackle for these guys. They seem like they're one of the big players for Tom Brady or Jimmy G in the offseason. I think that there's a really good chance that Tom Brady goes to the Raiders, so we're going to work under that assumption. They're going to go ahead and take Peter Skoronski. This is simply because he's so versatile and he has some amazing tape. Here at pick 8, no team in the NFL needs a better pass rush than Atlanta Falcons do. They got Myles Murphy still available for him here. This is just a no-brainer. We're going to take Myles Murphy and just improve that pass rush. They say that Will Levis is going to go in the top 10. Carolina here, that's top 10. 9th overall, that's fine for Will Levis. I don't really know if anyone trades up for him anyway in the draft, so I think this is a fair spot. The hype is kind of getting out of control for him. That's kind of how these things go until we get to like draft day. You never really know where these guys are going. Next up, we got Philly. We're going to go ahead and give Philly a really elite cornerback prospect. Now, I'm torn between 2 guys for them here. Christian Gonzalez being 1, Devin Witherspoon being 2. The draft scouts are really liking Devin Witherspoon, and I can't say I don't love that guy anyway. But we're going to go ahead and just give him to the Eagles. I was really impressed with what I saw on tape. I think he's a special talent. I still might have Gonzalez as my CB1, but man, both those guys are amazing. We're on the clock with Tennessee. This is a team that desperately needs tackle. They need a few other positions, but I don't think the tackles fall too much farther than here. We're going to go ahead and give my offensive tackle 1 and draft Broderick Jones for the Titans. Whether it's Malik Willis, Ryan Tannehill, or maybe even Trey Lance, we've heard some rumblings. They're going to be able to have a really, really good left tackle who's younger and healthy. No shade on Taylor Lewan, but you just got to get better at left tackle. Here we are with the Texans. This is a team that could go a bunch of different ways with their draft pick, but we're going to go ahead and give him Brian Branch. This is a versatile player. Step right in and be like a slot corner, strong safety, even some reps in the box. He's just a do-it-all kind of guy. He's a really elite talent at the safety position. I think you pair him with Jalen Petrie. You have Derek Stingley on the boundary. Christian Harris takes a step up year 2 at linebacker, and you're starting to move somewhere with that defense. Jets are on the clock. Only option is tackle. Who knows who the QB is next year? But man, they need to get better on that offensive line. They have talented players. They're just never healthy. Mekhi Becton somehow already needs to get paid. He's been a major letdown, so we're going to go ahead and take Paris Johnson Jr. Fix that left tackle spot. He could play right next to Elijah Vera Tucker, and Breece Hall, as soon as he comes back from injury, is going to love that left side. My beloved Patriots are on the clock here. I really would like to get him one of these tackles, one of the top 3 tackles in this class. But in this scenario, it's not possible. You got to be flexible. You got to be able to pivot. You can't fall in love with prospects. I anticipate them to let Jacoby Myers walk. This opens up a huge hole in the slot. Now, how do you fill that hole? You go ahead and draft the best slot prospect in quite some time. Jackson Smith-Njigba, gonna slide him right into the slot. Now, do I love Quentin Johnston? Absolutely. I just think you get Jackson Smith-Njigba in the slot. He's gonna be an awesome check down guy. Whereas Quentin Johnston's a big play kind of guy. It's just not the offense that we typically run. So I think JSN's a little bit safer. If we could get like that Rose Bowl performance out of him one time in his career, I'll be happy. Next up, you got Green Bay. This might be Jordan Love's team, who knows? It sounds like they're very open to Aaron Rodgers getting traded out. But whoever's there, they need more receiving help. Quentin Johnston here at 15 is a no-brainer for me. You're going to have a 6'4" guy who can run a 4.4 and pair him with a crazy explosive Christian Watson. If them two pan out, that's one of the better duos in the entire league. Washington's on the clock and Christian Gonzalez is falling a little bit here. I don't think they're really ready to compete right now, but to get an elite talent like Christian Gonzalez, I think that's a fair draft pick. I like Kendall Fuller. Benjamin St-Juste is okay, but you have a chance at a very special talent here. You take Christian Gonzalez and you instantly upgrade at that CB2 spot. Pittsburgh's on the clock here at 17, and we're not going to go with Joey Porter Jr. for the first time in all my mocks pretty much. They need a tackle. We're going to give him a tackle. Anton Harrison, a day 1 starter on that left side of the line. He's just had such a steady career with Oklahoma, and he's a guy that really excels at pass blocking. You want your rookie or your young quarterbacks to really build up that trust with their left tackles. Let's get him a really good player here. Next up, we got Detroit. We already drafted Brian Brzee to help with that interior defensive line. We're going to continue to improve that defense. Their offense proved to be so powerful last year. But we're going to go ahead and take a very good cornerback prospect, Joey Porter Jr. here at 18. Crazy value. Day 1 starter. There's a real good chance he's CB1 anyway. The Bucs are on the clock, and they have no quarterback. The sounds of it is Anthony Richardson is a day 1 lock. Now, does he end up top 10? That's the game we play. Who knows? But in this mock, he's going to fall all the way to Tampa Bay. So you take the upside swing here at 19. He might not be the answer, but you don't know unless you draft him. The Seahawks are on the clock after already taking an edge defender in Tyree Wilson. This was a pick that I kind of stumbled on for a little while. This team needs some interior offensive line help. More importantly, they need to fix that center position. Austin Blythe has been on like 5 different teams already. He was ranked as the 32nd worst center in all of the NFL this year. And I've heard some glowing reviews about John Michael Schmitz. So John Michael Schmitz is a center prospect out of Minnesota, said to potentially be the best IOL guy in the entire draft. I guess he grades out similar to like a Cesar Ruiz. We'll see as these things develop over the next couple months. But even though centers and guards aren't sexy in the first round, they always get drafted in the first round. So we're going to fix that center position, and hopefully he's the guy for 5 years. So it's been said that there's like a 50-50 chance that Keenan Allen might get traded this offseason. And if not traded, he might get cut. Who knows what that situation looks like? But he was so banged up and he's getting over that age hump. This is a team that already needs wide receiver help anyway. But we're going to go ahead and draft Jordan Addison. The Ravens are on the clock, and this team's a little hard to sort out right now. Their quarterback might not be playing for them next year. Who knows? Seems like a mess right now. Now, naturally, you want to go wide receiver here. Just get Lamar a really good receiving weapon. But the noise right now from the NFL execs and scouts is that no one's infatuated with this wide receiver class. So we're going to pass on wide receiver. They can address that in the second round or however, maybe in the free agency. But we're going to go ahead and give him a good edge defender. We're going to draft Lucas Van Ness. This is a tall, powerful, strong side outside linebacker. He plays almost reminiscent to like Matthew Judon a bit. Their edge defenders are just so washed and old right now. Like they're still rolling out JPP and Justin Houston. They're just going to get like a really freaky, strong, athletic edge defender here. He can play hand in the dirt, or could be like a 3-4 outside linebacker. Keeping this one simple here, we're gonna get the Vikings a cornerback. Cam Smith's on the board, Kelee Ringo's on the board, but I'm really just gonna go with Cam Smith here. For my money right now, I think Cam Smith is just a better pure talent at corner. The Jacksonville Jaguars are on the clock. I've routinely given them DBs, but I think I want to get a little spicy with this one here. Now, I know Evan Engram had a crazy breakout this year, but he is not a tight end. That guy plays more snaps as a boundary receiver than he does blocking, inline, slot, you name it. He's really just a boundary receiver. So we're going to go ahead and give him Michael Mayer. He's a little more of a traditional tight end. This guy can block. He'll be able to stretch the seam, but he'll also be a very good red zone target for Trevor Lawrence. Now we're going to stay on brand with the Giants here. There's no receiver in the draft right now that's getting more buzz than Zay Flowers. Zay Flowers is such a complete wide receiver, great speed, versatility, some of the best yak in the class. I think you just improve the weapons around Daniel Jones, and we follow a little bit of the hype with Zay Flowers. Now, amongst my buddies for like the past year, I've been joking about this pick, but I really think Bijan Robinson to the Cowboys is such a good pairing. You just lost Pollard to a potentially bad injury. Sounds like he needs surgery. Zeke is... you know, time. It's time. This offense as a general just needs a baller. And I don't think there's a better offensive playmaker in this draft than Bijan Robinson. Jerry Jones has a tendency to go after players who are super marketable. He loves himself some superstars, and I think that's exactly what Bijan is. Now, it's always fun to mock these skill players to all these powerful offenses, but we've done that for the Bills pick every single time we mock. So the Bills actually have one of the worst right tackles in all of football. And you won't find a bigger Darnell Wright fan than me. But we're going to go ahead and fill that right tackle spot. I think he has a good chance of being a first rounder anyway. I understand wide receiver is really fun to pick here, and I think maybe they should probably do that. But in this mock, we're going to go with Darnell Wright and really patch up that offensive line. The Cincinnati Bengals are going to take Darnell Washington. Now, he's a tight end from Georgia who's 6'7", 270 pounds, and this dude can move. You get him the ball in space, and he just levels people. Hell, he even hurdles people. He's really a rare prospect. He was a 5-star coming out of high school anyway. You get Joe Burrow another weapon, and not only that, this guy is a bulldozer. He is such a good blocker. He's really an extension of the offensive line. We always like to give the Broncos a right tackle or a left tackle in the draft, but this is a team that's missing a little piece at that second level on the defense. Trenton Simpson here for Denver. He's going to be able to get after the passer. He can play off ball. He can sit in zones. He has the athleticism to just rack up a bunch of tackles. This guy's really a plug and play fix at linebacker. He's just too good of a player to fall out of the first round as well. Kansas City's on the clock here, and this is a team that loves to take upside swings. So they're going to go ahead and be the team that takes Keely Ringo. Now, does he fall to 30? I don't really know. He doesn't have the best tape out there, but to be able to pair him this late in the first round with Trent McDuffie, L'Jarius Sneed in the slot, you put Keely Ringo on the boundary, and you're going to be playing against teams that need to play catch-up. The offense scores a lot of points. Other teams are going to be forced to throw the ball. Those are some really good corners that you're going to have to be throwing at. The Eagles look like they might win it all. Now, if they do, I feel like you might be losing some guys on that offensive line. Whether it's Lane Johnson on the right side, Jason Kelsey at center, feels like there's going to be a lot of turnover on that offensive line sooner than later. We're going to go ahead and give him DeJuan Jones. He's a right tackle out of Ohio State. I think he's a day one starter. So even if Lane Johnson wanted to stay one more year, you're going to have a really big dude that you can plug right into that right tackle spot. Okay, to recap some of our notable picks. Firstly, we had the trade up from Indianapolis. They went ahead and took Bryce Young. Now this could be CJ Stroud in another situation. Whoever they have at QB1, that's who they'll take at 101. The Bears get Will Anderson after trading back. I think that's great value. You're really cashing out with that first overall pick. The chatter really loves Tyree Wilson, so we're going to just take him here at 5. Myles Murphy falls all the way to 8. Atlanta's going to love that pick. Will Levis finally gets drafted at 9. Now my gut tells me that no one's going to trade up for that guy. Devon Witherspoon goes 10th overall. This is a guy you really got to keep your eye on. The Patriots take Jackson Smith and Jigba. Anthony Richardson falls all the way to 19. The Seattle Seahawks take a center at pick 20. Lucas Van Ness goes to the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens pass on a wide receiver to take this guy. This is someone to keep your eyes on as well. I've seen him mocked in the top 10. I haven't watched enough of him to know if he's a top 10 player. Bijan Robinson goes to the Cowboys. You know them Cowboys love that. Keely Ringo falls all the way to 30. If he pans out, that's going to be a really good secondary for Kansas City. Alright guys, that's all I have for you today. Hopefully I got you every single player that your team needs. Keep in mind we just like to have fun with these. These scenarios are never set in stone. We're just going off the stuff we hear, the players we like, and we're trying to just be creative with these things. Mock draft season gets so old when you just draft the same players over and over again to the same teams. So we try to keep it fresh, and as you guys know, the draft is so unpredictable anyway. So my goal is really to put you guys on some scenarios that may happen, and I'm just going off gut feel right now. And you know my gut feel is so inaccurate because we're 3 months away. So much is going to change over the next 3 months. But we're going to be here to do this every single week. So hopefully you guys liked the video. And if you did, please leave a like. Comment down below if you have any comments or questions. And if you guys enjoy the football content regularly, please hit the subscribe button so you guys can stay up to date on my latest videos. Alright boys, thank you for watching. Peace.